I'm Rob.
And I'm Nate.
And welcome back to Rob and Nate Record a Podcast. This is week 3 of our Mystery Pack month. And we are pre-recording before we watch the movie because we don't yet know what the movie is.
We're doing some kind of experimental stuff because it was such a mixed 2 bags that we decided we would do 2 movies from the bundles and then we would select 2 kind of randomish things.
And I decided in honor of the Mystery Pack month that I was not actually going to pick a title. I have a lot of DVDs. I have my DVD collection, according to my app, says I have 782 movies. And that's just the ones that I have a DVD of. There's actually more in my collection if you count the ones that I only own digitally. Because I don't put the digital only in
I thought we were going to be doing YouTube movies, but we're doing something for your DVD collection instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I told you.
That's fine. I misinterpreted.
Yeah. So I'm in the app that has my total collection, and if I shake my phone, it does a random selection. There will be a few that I'll boycott. Like earlier when I was doing a test, it brought up a Jeff Dunham special. I consider that a TV show, not a movie. So I'll boycott something like that.
And does it show you? It looks like it shows you like 5 or 6.
No, this is is scrolling through my collection. So this, you could scroll through the whole thing. But if I'm in this thing, and then as I'm about to do, shake my phone.
Oh, what are we gonna get?
Despicable Me. Do we want to go with Despicable Me, or do we want to say best out of 3?
Let's do 3. Yeah, okay. So Despicable Me is one option.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah, Mr. Smith.
Or For the Love of the Game.
I've not seen that.
Which one you
want to do?
You
want to do that?
Sure. So we're watching For Love of the Game.
1999. 99, okay.
It's a...
Kevin Costner?
Listed as a drama sports romance.
Drama sports romance. I like that. The
All right.
Sports romance.
Yep. We'll be back after we watch the movie. Welcome back. We've just finished watching the movie. We have watched For Love of the Game, the 1999 movie that runs 2 hours and 17 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
Long movie now, long movie then. Mm-hmm. You didn't have too many super long movies back then. Well, I guess you did. Had some.
It's long for the type of movie that it is.
Yeah, this is directed by Sam Raimi.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, The Evil Dead, they made a baseball movie.
Yeah. This is based on a book written by Michael Cera.
Michael Cera, who wrote The Killing Angels, a very famous Civil War book.
Yeah.
That's for you, Jackson. I remembered something you said.
And the screenplay was written by Dana Stevens, who also wrote the screenplay for City of Angels.
Okay.
Which you can probably see after seeing this.
I can see some thematics, yeah.
She also wrote the screenplay for Safe Haven. She's written for the TV show Fatherhood. And this is one of her other top works. The movie stars Kevin Costner as Billy Chappell, a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, who's been playing the game for 19 years.
Mm-hmm. Professionally.
Yes.
For the Tigers the whole time.
Yes. His romantic interest in this movie is Jane Aubrey, played by Kelly Preston. This movie also features John C. Reilly as Gus Sinski, the catcher. Jenna Malone as Heather Aubrey, Kelly Preston's daughter. It's got Brian Cox in it in a side part. J.K. Simmons, Vin Scully plays himself.
Vin Scully is still alive. I found out he's 94.
And then various other piece players.
Yeah.
But the main cast of the movie is Kevin Costner and Kelly Preston. The movie is told kind of in a back and forth style. It features a lot of flashbacks.
Framing story, with a lot of flashbacks.
Billy Chappell, played by Kevin Costner, is, like I said, he's been playing for 19 years. Brian Cox is the owner of the Detroit Tigers, and informs Kevin Costner before this game that he's selling the team and that the new owners want to trade him to the Giants in San Francisco. He's also found out that day that Jane is moving to London. She didn't show up for their rendezvous, and he's just not feeling things, and he goes to the stadium to start the game, and he's warming up, and he's talking with J.K. Simmons, and basically has just made up his mind he's putting it all on the line today. And so he has this pretty good back and forth with J.K. Simmons about who's going to be his catcher. and he goes out there and he just throws like it's his last game ever. And of course, because this is the movies, he throws a perfect game, something that rarely, if ever, happens in baseball. It's the type of thing that if you're a baseball fan and have baseball alerts on your phone, doesn't matter what team it is, if someone's getting late in that eighth inning, you'll get a notification about it on your phone.
Well, Vin Scully says in some of his dialogue that he had covered one before in a World Series in like the early 60s.
Yeah.
And that he never thought he'd see one again.
Yeah. They're very rare, but Kevin Costner finishes the perfect game against the child of someone that he previously played with, who's now playing in his first game in the majors. Yeah, Nate, what are your first thoughts on this movie? What did you know about it coming into this?
I knew that it was a baseball movie and that it was a romance. It had been described as a drama sports romance, which is kind of an unusual combination of things.
Yeah, that was the categories it was classified under in the app on my phone.
I knew basically that. I knew it,
And you knew it was
Kevin Costner, kind of at the point where he's kind of old to be playing a baseball player, so I figured it'd be kind of a twilight of a career kind of story.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know anything beyond that.
So now
I had avoided looking into it.
Well, I mean, we didn't really have much of a chance.
I after it was going for a while, I'm like, how long is this thing? And I Googled that. I'm like, wow, this is a long movie.
Yeah. So now that we finished the movie, what are your first thoughts?
I didn't want to like it. I liked it. I fought liking it.
Oh, yeah, you did.
For so much of the movie. I'm just like, this... Nobody talks about this. This is kind of an autopilot in another baseball movie, and it's kind of schmaltzy. And it is kind of schmaltzy and corny.
It is very heavy on the cheese.
It really is really heavy on that. But damn it worked.
Yeah.
Like, it won me over. When John C. Reilly gives that encouraging speech, that is the moment when it went from 2 stars to 2.5.
It was not the moment you started caring about the movie, though. You started caring about this movie, and I made note of it, specifically in the 4th inning.
Oh, did I?
Yes. Because there was the moment, I forget what's happening in the movie, but you made a comment about wanting something to work, and I said, Nate, you're liking this. And you said, am I? And I said, well, yeah, because otherwise you wanted to go back to the game and the game to get over with. You made some other excuse, but it was because it was starting to...
about going to do something with Kelly Preston, or like go in and see her, and it was like, go in and see her. Yeah,
because you were starting to care about the movie and you were starting to like it, not because like I told you in the moment. If you wanted this movie if you didn't care about this movie, you'd want it to go back to the baseball game so it was over.
As I told you at that moment, I now know this is a 2-hour, 17-minute long movie. I'm not a big baseball guy, and so he's got to be with the girl so there's more plot to keep me entertained.
That was just your justification for liking the movie, because you were still actively trying to not like the movie at that point, but it was starting to show.
Yeah, I mean, it there's a lot in this movie that's bad.
Yeah,
and the early part of this
just
movie,
too over the top. And I wrote down about the early part of the film, I would describe it as mildly unpleasant. Because everybody is in downer mode, and it took me a while to kind of like the two leads together for that relationship to develop. And it was just such a downer, because it's like everything's over and everything's down. And then it kind of, before you knew it, when he's like, has anybody been on base? Yeah.
No, nobody's been on base. And then he realized, I'm pitching a perfect game. And then all of the rest of the team is like, okay, we got it. We will be there for you.
Yeah.
And
because we don't suck right now.
Yeah, we don't suck right now. We're the best. We're the best team in the league right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. I liked it in spite of myself. This is one of the advantages that come from seeing a film blind
and not expecting it.
And yeah, it's a different experience than if you're like, okay, I'm setting out to see this film.
Yeah,
because then you have your kind of expectations and things. And as I've said before, when I don't know what to make of a film, there's a certain level of discomfort until I know what lane it's in. And there's been movies that the first time I watched it, I haven't liked it because I hadn't been able to figure out what it was. And then I have to watch it again to kind of know what I think about it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to need to watch this one again.
And this does not pretend to be anything that it's
It does
not.
not pretend to be anything of great depth, but it surprised me a bit. And early on, when I'm like, I think this whole movie is going to be about the one game. I mean, it's for the love of the game, singular.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it was going for the longest time.
The other wisecracks you were having fun with is that comparing this to Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We made a number of those comparisons.
We're Kevin Costner was Luke in an alternate universe where he succeeds at baseball.
Yeah.
Because Kelly Preston had her daughter when she was 16.
Yeah.
And so there's that storyline.
This movie, though, this is not like an all-time great movie. This is not going to be an Academy Award-winning film. So I was curious what awards this was nominated for, and I'm only going to read one because it's probably the only one that's worth reading. It was a Blockbuster Entertainment Award. It was a nominee for Jenna Malone for Favorite Supporting Actress in a Drama or Romance.
Jenna Malone is in all of 7 minutes of this movie.
It was also, I guess I am going to read more awards. It was also a Razzie Award nominee for Worst Actor for Kevin Costner, a Stinker Award nominee for Worst Actor for Kevin Costner. Jenna Malone also was a nominee for Best Performance in a Feature Film for the Young Artist Award. You like John C. Reilly in this movie, too.
I didn't like John C. Reilly. I like John C. Reilly.
And this is
generally.
probably the skinniest I've ever seen John C. Reilly. You want to like John C. Reilly, but a lot of his movies aren't great.
Walk Hard is a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Well, Step Brothers is a guilty pleasure for me. Holmes and Watson was awful.
That's what we hear.
Yeah. But John C. Reilly, he's playing a straight part here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know how much else to add on this. We've said most of it. I'm going to hurry and glance at trivia and see if... Well, actually, let's do box office first.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how this
did. $80 million budget.
Oh, wow. How'd that...
1999.
That's a lot. And I
Chunk
don't know
of that's got to go to Kevin
spend
Costner.
that. Yeah, Kevin Costner's got to be at least $20 million of that.
Well, Kelly Preston would have gotten a good chunk. Brian Cox and J.K. Simmons probably got paid a decent amount, but not 90 or 80 million.
No.
This had a U.S. opening weekend of 13 million, a U.S. gross of 35 million, and a worldwide gross of just 46 million.
That's a loser. It did not have a perfect game.
Oh, the shots of Billy Chapel's parents at the beginning of the movie are Kevin Costner's actual parents.
Oh.
The umpires in the film are actual Major League Baseball umpires.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to read that one? It was reported that this is coming from the trivia section of IMDb. It was reported that Kevin Costner was angry with Universal Pictures because they cut his full frontal shower scene. Costner told Newsweek that the studio lacked real courage by insisting that the film have a more kid-friendly rating. But a studio executive told New York Magazine that a test audience in Arizona gave a thumbs down to Costner's manhood. The audience giggled at Kevin's penis. Then in focus groups they said, "Do we really need to see Kevin Costner's penis?"
And it's not exactly an adult movie. This is a movie that you want to have a rating like that. It's a Big Tent inspiring.
Yeah.
This is not the movie for Kevin Costner's Ding Dong.
This was Kevin Costner's third baseball movie.
Oh, okay.
I know you can name one of them. Can you name the third?
Well, obviously, Field of Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling.
This might be the one trivia question I ask you that you don't actually know.
Okay. All right, tell me.
Bill Durham.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from 1988.
Know the name.
Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to read out of the trivia section. Pretty straightforward film. Pretty straightforward review of it. I don't know how much else there is to say on this.
Yeah.
How would you rate this movie?
Better than I expected. I'm going to give it 2.5. And I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I might bump it up to a 7, but otherwise I think you're pretty well right.
There are parts
right
of
down
this
the middle.
that
It's
were
watchable.
really strong. And some of the baseball stuff towards the end was like really solid stuff. But the mixture of the baseball story and the kind of melodrama was different.
Odd.
It was odd. It was very much like a date compromise movie personified.
That's
like
true.
It's a baseball movie and it's a romance.
Well, and then this is... I'd say the 80s and the 90s were the heyday of the romantic comedy movies, or of the romance movies. You know, this isn't a romantic comedy, and so I feel like this is just a studio trying to check a box, you know.
Kelly Preston was, I mean, I know the name and I've seen her in things, but she's never made a huge impression. I thought she was perfectly serviceable here.
Yeah. I think what I was going to say was it's still just a watchable film.
Yeah,
like,
it's watchable.
I don't think either one of us will be going out of our way to rewatch this anytime soon.
Well, if it comes on the TV in 15 years, I might watch it.
If the opportunity comes along, I don't know that we necessarily say no to it.
Yeah.
Like if it came up on my phone again with my wife, I'd probably watch it again. So, although I think this may have inspired my wife to play this game on the weekends and we'll watch movies that way. So
yeah, again, this was just a fun way to see a film. It's different. I don't know if I said this before we were recording or while we were recording. Just that it's a different experience when you know what you're getting into, as opposed to going in blind. And every once in a while, it's fun to see something blind.
Yeah. Well, we keep talking about doing some of these blind selection things, and this, I think, was just a good way to force us to do that. And I think if we do the mystery or something akin to the mystery pack in the month,
we do.
This will probably become the method.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a collection of 782 DVDs. It's not like there's not a movie we can watch.
Yeah.
So, and there's enough movies on YouTube and everywhere else, you know, streaming platforms we all have access to. The random selection is an easy way. So, yeah. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm Rob.
And I'm Nate.
And this is Rob and Nate Record a Podcast. That was loud.
It was kind of loud.
Are you ready?
Indeed.
Okay. Welcome back to this episode of Nate Shuns Children's Movies.
Oh.
Despicable Me.
I did. I'm like, I don't know. Once that came up, I'm like, I don't watch Despicable Me. Seen it.
You didn't want to do your critical analysis of it?
Seen it, but I don't know if I want to see it again.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Rob and Nate Record a Podcast, or I guess I don't really need to do that. And you have not given us our commercial for the week.
Pepsi Cola hits the spot. 12 full ounces, that's a lot. Twice as much for a nickel, too. Pepsi Cola is the drink for you.
Did you hear that one recently, or did you actually make that up?
That's an actual
I thought so, because
Pepsi
of the
jingle
nickel.
From, I want to say, the 40s.
Yeah.
And because you now are trying to train my brain to go for obscure commercials, my brain found it in the archives and pulled it up.
So it's successful.
Yeah. Pavlovian.
I thought it had to have probably been a real one because of the use of the nickel.
The nickel.
Which now reminds me of the song On the Nickel by Tom Waits.
It's not by Nickelback?
No. On the Nickel is a reference to like winos on the streets.
Tom Waits is a reference to winos.
That's true, yeah. Or miners in San Francisco. Yeah.
I thought this movie was going to be him going to the Giants and rediscovering very early on his love of the game.
Yeah, no.
That would have been a totally different movie.
Yeah. She wouldn't have gone to the West Coast with him.
No.
Yeah. Any other quick quips?
No.
Because I didn't give you an opening recording to give me quick quips.
Good system.
Yeah. Well, so now I face an editing dilemma.
Yeah.
I think I have to cut out the other 3 out of the edit.
Oh, why?
Because if we put it out there that Mr. Smith Goes to Washington was an option, you know Jackson's going to comment.
Yeah.
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 So.
We'll see.